What I don't understand, though, is when it gets spiteful, okay? Because you put down a few arguments that I think are perfectly, like, you know, they're kind of evangelical and they're Christian, but those are your right to say it. What I don't understand is when it kind of seeps into this sort of, you call women fat, you say that they shouldn't have abortions, you say that they have STDs. You know,
I mean, the question is, are they fat, yes or no? The average American woman is 170 pounds. That's objectively overweight.
I mean, let's be
Bienvenidos sean todos de nuevo a mi canal. Espero y todos estén teniendo un fantástico día. El día de hoy les tengo un video nuevo de la versión femenina de Andrew Tate y antifeminista Pearl Davis, la cual tuvo un debate por televisión en vivo contra una feminista llamada Ava Santina. Sin más que decir, comencemos con el video de hoy. Disfruten.
Pearl Davis has racked up a legion of online followers and plenty of breathless newspaper coverage by sharing her incendiary views on modern feminism. The New York Post called her the female Andrew Tate. So is she tapped into genuine female pushback to the excesses of wokery, or is she just an attention seeker? We'll find out in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the clip that sent her viral.
A lot of people think I'm insane because I don't think women should vote. Everybody thinks I'm crazy for this opinion. If anything, this is probably my most extreme opinion. 90% of women have been on birth control. 1 out of 3 women has had an abortion. 1 out of 3 women has an STD. Average body count is over 5, so that your average wife has slept with over 5 people. 95% of women are not virgins on their wedding days. So I understand the complaint.
Okay, well, Pearl joins me now alongside political journalist Ava Santina, who was nodding furiously along there to everything she heard. Right, Pearl, you've be called the female Andrew Tate. How do you plead?
Well, I take it as a compliment. You know, I'm a fan of Andrew Tate.
Of everything he says?
It depends what we're talking about. But overall, I think he's got a good message. I think he's good for young men.
Okay, look, you're talking about women predominantly, which is why you've got this big following. And your view is that modern feminism is deeply flawed. I would argue a lot of your proposals, like taking the vote away from women, are deeply regressive. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to remove, just from yourself, the right to vote?
Well, what happened was I had the same view, right? Back when I started, I was like, why? I found out that only 5% of women wanted the right to vote. And I couldn't figure out, like, why would women not? No, it's true. It's true. If you look it up.
At the time?
At the time.
Because they've been conditioned by men to think that they shouldn't have a vote.
I mean, that's what they say. But, you know, I started reading their writings, right? And what I found out was that the reason a lot of women advocated for it was because they believed it was the beginning of the breakdown of the family. You know, before you became one in marriage, 85% of people were married. And, you know, I hate to say it, but they were right. What has happened 100 years later?
But what's that got to do with them having the vote?
Well, it also goes back to responsibility. Again, men are 80 to 90% of the military. They run all of the infrastructures that make society run. So I just think if we want an equal say in society, then be equal. Do 50% of the hard jobs. Be 50% of the military. In the U.S., they're fined $250,000 if they don't join selective service, which is essentially the
Muy inteligente como piensa esta mujer por el simple hecho de que no deja que sus emociones rasguen su visión de la lógica y la realidad. Independientemente de que estés de acuerdo con ella y su opinión, tenemos que aceptar que ella solo está dando lógica y estadísticas para establecer su argumento, cosas que las mujeres no hacen el día de hoy. Se supone que el día de hoy las mujeres que se denominan como feministas están a favor de igualdad entre hombres y mujeres. Sin embargo, eso es una falacia. La verdad es que el feminismo moderno no cree en la verdadera igualdad y, aunque Pearl se considere una antifeminista, ella representa lo que el feminismo es en realidad por definición. Ese feminismo que existía desde los últimos del siglo XV. Sigamos con el video.
Okay, but specifically on the vote, what would having the right to vote have to do with family cohesion, for example?
Well, because again, before you weren't trying to divide a family. It was one family unit. You had one vote for the family. I mean, I don't think it's good for a family to have 2 votes.
Ava, your mouth seems to have dropped about
No, do you know when it's sort of
I know.
it's just sort of a bit galaxy brain. I feel like, you know, the stats that you're putting down are perhaps correct in some universe.
Which stats?
They just kind of don't really add up. I mean, just to take you back to the to the women's writings that you've allegedly read. I mean, at
allegedly.
The time, well,
what do you mean allegedly?
At the time that you're talking about, you know, women weren't really allowed to write. They weren't allowed to go to school.
Yes, they were.
Write.
Yes, they
so
were. That's
actually,
incorrect. The first female property owner was in the 1600s. The idea that women couldn't work and couldn't.
I'm so sorry, but that would be inherited property.
The first female millionaire was in the late 1800s.
And was that inherited?
No, it wasn't. It was self-made.
Yes, it was.
Self-made.
Yes, it was.
She never inherited land. Yes, she did not inherit it.
What law permitted that?
What?
What law permitted that?
Well, there was no law. I mean, there's always been women that were influential in history.
Let's get on to the vote. So what I don't understand is, you know, a part of your message, I've researched you today, and hang on a minute.
Okay.
You know, your big push is that you care about men and you don't think that men are getting enough of a say. But
I care about
hang
women
on,
too.
I haven't made the point yet.
Okay.
Because of feminism, okay? What I wonder is when you start making calls out like repeal the 19th, women shouldn't be allowed to vote. How is that helping young men? Because these young men have women in their lives, they have mothers, they have sisters, they have teachers, and they turn around, they don't know how to act around women because you're giving them license to be misogynistic.
I wouldn't call it misogynistic. I say be equal. So again, men do all of the
feminists are saying.
Well, then okay, I'd love for the feminists, please apply for the oil rigs. Please go do the hard jobs in society. They're open, they're hiring because I don't think men or women are equal until we do the equal work. So no, listen. Go apply to be on the oil rigs. Go be a plumber, go be an electrician, go be on the front lines of the military, and then we should have equal rights. But until feminists are willing to do that, I don't believe we should have the freedom without the responsibility.
Okay, well, I don't think that I'm physically built for that. You might be, but I'm absolutely not. You said you were a volleyball.
Wow.
You said you were a volleyball player, and so you've got more strength than I do. I don't think.
But
that I can do those jobs.
I don't have more strength than the average man.
I'm not going to take your right away to do it.
I don't have more strength than the average man. But again, it goes back to go be a plumber. You want to be equal, go be equal.
But you want divorce to be made illegal.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, because I don't think what we have today is really marriage. What is marriage? It's for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. That's what marriage is supposed to be. But feminists have ruined marriage for the people that actually believe in marriage.
How?
When there's a 50% divorce rate. And the average marriage
Why is that all
8
down to the
years.
women, though?
I didn't say that it was all down to the women.
So why feminists?
You asked why I want divorce to be banned.
Yeah.
Can I finish that first? So I'm saying, the people that believe in divorce, go be in long-term relationships. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
But doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin? So you wouldn't be able to get married?
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
And that's a fair complaint. I wish I was. But, we can't go back. I don't know what you want me to say.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's fair that you get to be here and you get to be paid for your views and you're telling other women that they shouldn't be allowed to.
I think,
hang on. Okay, if I may, at some stage jump in. Isn't the whole point of being a feminist, though, that women are entitled to have their own views?
Absolutely.
So she's perfectly entitled to her views.
Exacto. Muy tonto el argumento de esta mujer llamada Ava. Típico de las feministas intentar decir que no puedes criticar a las mujeres por el simple hecho de que tienes hermanas, madres, tías, esposas, hijas, etc. Sin embargo, se les olvida mencionar que ellas también tienen hijos, hermanos, tíos, padres, etc. Ah, no, se me olvidaba que el día de hoy a muchas mujeres y hombres les hace falta la figura paterna, porque las mujeres utilizan a sus hijos como una forma de torturar a los hombres y sacarles dinero, y aparte les prohíben ver a los hombres a sus hijos. Nada de eso lo mencionan las feministas ni de chiste. Lo que tampoco mencionan las feministas es que no por el hecho de que tengan madre, hermana, etc., significa que no pueda criticar a las mujeres, especialmente porque mi madre, hermana, etc., no son promiscuas. Llama la atención como lo son estas mujeres. A las feministas solo les importa tu opinión, así seas hombre o mujer, cuando a ellas les convenga tal opinión. Así es como le demostró esta mujer, la cual quedó como una payasa en vivo y en televisión. Continuemos con la parte final del video.
But you can't.
You might not like
But
them.
I'm here to
But
challenge
isn't she
them.
exercising her right as a... Are you a feminist?
No, I am not.
Really?
No, don't go that far.
You don't want to be a feminist?
No, because I think if feminists really believed in equality, but you guys don't, I would love for you. There is an oil rig hiring. There is an engineering
I would actually
firm
love to see
hiring.
Ava Santina on an oil rig.
No, seriously. There is a building being built next to my building. Go do it, feminists. Go do it. And me,
Paul,
I'm
I'm doing
saying
the same
But
job
Paul,
that I'm doing right
when
now.
you find the man you want to get married to, are you saying you will be with that man whatever happens the rest of your life?
yes, for the vows that we're supposed to live by.
How do you know you can keep them?
I mean, I think it's a choice. And that's the thing, like, women are so willing to leave marriages because they're not happy. This is not about happiness. The most important thing is the children. And the problem is we have a modern society where it's me, my feelings, leave when I feel like it, instead of doing what's best for the kids.
Ava, I've got to say, it's a little bit listening to Andrew Tate where some of it I really don't agree with. I don't agree with the vote stuff. When I hear things like that, I think there'll be a lot of people, especially older generation women perhaps, who think, you know what, she's got a point.
Well, I mean, I believe in agency, so I think that if a woman is going to look after her children in divorce, that's absolutely fine. I also believe in your right to speak your mind about it. What I don't understand,
I'd like to
what
say,
I don't
even
understand,
before the 1920s,
Do you know what I mean?
women could speak openly. This idea that, like, women couldn't talk the last 500 years. There have been women
I know,
throughout
but the American
history
state
that have
education
been-
system has
that
failed before, and it's failing now.
There have been women throughout history that have read, written, and been very influential in society.
Okay.
So this idea like women could never do it.
Do you know what
believe
what
it.
I don't understand though is when it gets spiteful, okay? Because you put down a few arguments that I think are perfectly, like, you know, they're kind of evangelical and they're Christian, but those are your right to say it. What I don't understand is when it kind of seeps into this sort of, you call women fat, you say that they shouldn't have
Are they
abortions,
fat?
you say that
Are
they
they
have
fat?
STDs. You know,
I mean, the question is, are they fat? Yes
why-
or no?
why pass
The
that
average
kind of
American
judgment?
woman is 170 pounds. That's objectively overweight.
I mean, let's be honest, we now celebrate morbid obesity as some kind of body positive thing, and it is complete nonsense. So actually on that point again, there's a bit of truth in
And this
that.
is the problem. This is the problem.
How have we come to celebrate morbid obesity as body positive? It's nonsense.
We're not talking about morbid obese. I was actually watching your podcast earlier, and you spoke to someone who was, I would say, probably a size 12, and you called her fat, obese, and a divorcee.
She was fat, obese, and a divorcee.
wasn't.
I mean, like, I don't know what to say. This is the thing, women, we don't want to live in reality. We don't want to say things that are true. Was she fat? Yes. Was she a divorcee? Yes. These things are just objective facts.
Okay, I'm going to have to
And
objectively...
she insulted me first. They always do.
I'm going to have to objectively end the debate, but it was an interesting conversation. I think we should get you two back together as a matter of urgency. Thank you very much, Pearl. Thank you, Ava.
Me da mucha risa el hecho de que más de 3 veces Pearl le dijo a esta mujer que si quiere ser igual que un hombre, entonces tiene que hacer las mismas cosas que este, y nunca recibió una respuesta concreta. Típico de las feministas, siempre quieren los mismos derechos sin tener las mismas responsabilidades. A lo último, se ve como esa mujer, llamada Ava, como no tiene argumentos ni fundamentos en los cuales apoyarse, termina intentando atacar a Pearl diciendo que ella odia a las mujeres por decirles gordas o divorciadas, a lo cual ella, con mucha calma y risa, le contesta que solo dice la verdad. En todo el debate, Pearl utilizó puras estadísticas y la típica feminista del show, solo insultos o argumentos en base a sentimientos dolidos. Díganme qué les pareció el video y si les gustó, por favor denle pulgar arriba, que se vienen más videos así. Recuerden que mis membresías están activas por si te interesa ver el video sin mi opinión, entre muchas otras cosas más. Sin más que decir, hasta luego.